Hello, welcome, namaste, assalamu alaikum, sat sri akal ji, all of the greetings to all of you, wherever you are. And it's so amazing to think I'm talking to you and you might be in India or the Philippines or Indonesia or somewhere else. It's such a pleasure. And I hope that you are well. It's really hot and sunny in London, and I think we're starting to get ready for summer. I'm feeling it. I'm very excited. I'm going to be visiting Sweden at some point in June, and I hope that you are well. You must let me know how you are. I've seen a lot of comments online, and I really thank you for all of your interactions there. I'm getting through this list of the 100 greatest Bollywood songs on BBC Asian Network. And today I'm looking at number 15, and it's from the film QAYAMAT Se QAYAMAT Tak. A very interesting title in Hindi. It means from doomsday till doomsday, which is very specific. That's an almost Christian term. It's also known by the initialism QSQT. It's a 1988 Hindi language musical romance directed by Mansoor Khan, written and produced by Nasir Hussain, and starring Aamir Khan in his leading film debut. This was the first film he was a lead in. Wow. Along with Juhi Chawla. Wow, she's beautiful. The film was released in April 29th, 1988 to high critical acclaim, a major commercial success, and was a super hit, turning Aamir Khan and Juhi Chawla into superstars. The plot was a modern day take. I'm fascinated by the experience of that, and I would love to experience that myself. I think it would be a challenge, but interesting, you know? The plot was a modern day take on classic tragic romance stories such as Layla Majnun, Heer Ranjha, and Romeo Juliet. QSQT, which reinvented the romantic musical genre in Bollywood, was a milestone in the history of Hindi cinema, setting the template for Bollywood musical romance films that defined Hindi cinema in the 1990s. The soundtrack was composed by Anand Milind and with lyrics written by Majrooh Sultanpuri. It was one of the best-selling Bollywood soundtrack albums of the 1980s, with more than 8 million soundtrack albums sold, and with Papa Ket Hain, sung by Udit Narayan and picturized on Aamir Khan, being the most popular hit song from the album. The soundtrack was a breakthrough for the careers of Anand Milind, as well as T-Series, one of India's leading record labels. The synopsis for this film is, in this musical Bollywood adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, handsome young Raj Singh, Aamir Khan, and beautiful Rashmi Rajput, Juhi Chawla, embark on a passionate romance. Unfortunately, their respective families are the bitterest of enemies. Desperate to be together, the two try to escape their families by fleeing to the countryside, but their feuding clans are not far behind, both equally determined to put a stop to their illicit relationship. And look at that poster, that's beautiful. These look like such a beautiful pair, look at that! Wow, she is stunning. Okay, the song we're looking at today is MERE HUMSAFAR. Let's see if this is all it's cracked up to be.
है मेरे हमसफर एक जरा इंतजार, सुन सदाएं दे रही है मंजिल प्यार की। है मेरे हमसफर एक जरा इंतजार, सुन सदाएं दे रही है मंजिल प्यार की।
So young.
अब है जुदाई का मौसम, दो पल का मेहमान, कैसे ना जाएगा अंधेरा, क्यों न थमेगा तूफान।
अब है जुदाई का मौसम, दो पल का मेहमान, कैसे ना जाएगा अंधेरा, क्यों न थमेगा तूफान। कैसे ना मिलेगी मंजिल प्यार की, है मेरे हमसफर एक जरा इंतजार, सुन सदाई दे रही है मंजिल प्यार की।
Oh, love it.
प्यार ने जहाँ पे रखा है, झूम के कदम एक बार, वहीं से खोला है कोई रास्ता, वहीं से गिरी है दीवार।
That's a great shot. They're describing what love
प्यार ने जहाँ पे रखा है,
footsteps.
झूम के कदम एक बार, वहीं से खुला है कोई रास्ता, वहीं से गिरी है दीवार। रोके कब रुकी है मंजिल प्यार की, ऐ मेरे हमसफर एक जरा इंतजार, सुन सदाई दे रही है मंजिल प्यार की।
You know, there's something about and maybe the genre is called magical realism, the idea of things being hyper real and kind of dreamlike, frankly magical and like a fantasy are portrayed here. I feel like the realms and the boundaries of reality and magical thinking or magical imagination and what they dream they would like to experience are blurred here. It reminds me of the kind of excitement and headiness, exuberance of Hum Aapke Hain Kaun, the burgeoning love affair of two who, well, actually it's ironic because in that they kind of denied a love for each other for a long time, even though the families were close. But then it got turned around and they really wanted to be together, but they had to be inclined not to. Whereas this, it feels like if it's the story of Romeo and Juliet, which is that great concept of love transcending tribalism and boundaries and social dictates, then these two really have this free imagining of each other and free connection with each other, but they have this social kind of constraint. I'm not sure what I'm getting at with this, but I feel like so much of this is about the dreamlike imagination of youth and teenage years and fantasy about what you want your relationship to be like, what you want your life to be like, how you imagine this beautiful romance can be. I find it really stunning, and the fact that it's made in the 80s, which has this kind of crazy dreamlike quality to a lot of it anyway. Very bright and exuberant and fantastical. And what a thing to grow up with from the generations that I grew up in, where you grew up in you had a childhood in the 80s where you see cinema and it really kind of fills you with this fantastical imagery and colours and landscapes and broadening horizons. And you see that here. They're at the peak of their youth. Their lives are about to start, and they have these wonderful vistas and landscapes and countryside that they can play in, and they watch each other and chase each other. And there's something so full of life and hope and positivity about that genre of films and that era of films that I love it. So I hope that you appreciated that. I think Aamir Khan was very beautiful as a young man, as a teenager, and Juhi Chawla is just wonderful. She's got so much energy and life. I'm really appreciative of all of this, guys. And I think it's so beautiful. And it's a lovely poster. I haven't looked at this poster properly before, but it's stunning. You see the sort of coolness of the character, the slight gang, sort of almost another Romeo and Juliet story. West Side Story is that great musical, Hollywood musical, based on Romeo and Juliet. And you see that in his gang, slightly gangwear there. And you see this incredibly passionate image of a kiss on the poster as well. And their hair sort of molds into each other's hair. It's beautiful. Let me know your thoughts on this. I love it. I am loving these sort of top songs from classic Hindi cinema. I would love to know more, and obviously from other Canada and other forms of language from and regions from India and cinema. Much love to you all. I will see you again next week. Chin chin, cheerio from your Brit Reacting to Bollywood.